Hardcore Nuzlocks on YouTube are very commonplace now, especially in the vanilla Pokemon games like Fire Red and Emerald, but the reality is that anyone with even the slightest amount of competency in Nuzlocking will just blast through these games with little to no effort at all. Most of it is literally just you spamming the A button over and over again until you win. It is because of this reason that the term Hardcore Plus Nuzlocking has been coined. Basically, it's the standard Hardcore Nuzlocks that have been commonplace on YouTube, but made to be a lot harder. In this video, the extra rules that I'll be adding to the Hardcore Nuzlocke will be 1. A complete removal of all EVs from the game to greatly reduce the power of your mons. EVs in most Pokemon games are kind of just a noob carry mechanic, basically giving you the player a humongous advantage over the AI which has no EVs at all. Getting plus 64 to 1 stat is potentially humongous, and it kind of diminishes the need for proper team building when something like a fully invested swampert can just two-shot everything in its path while also tanking everything that gets thrown towards it. There's just not that much skill involved in that. Not to mention EVs are just very inconvenient to play, as it's just a lot of busy work and it's a really grindy mechanic, so I just remove that. The other rule I add to this is no setup moves allowed, unless it's something really jank like Metal Claw or something like that. Of course, Dragon Dance spam and linoone with Belly Drum and Emerald are just so stupid and they just completely invalidate most Nuzlocks. We're not about that here. Also, one more thing. Shedinja will be banned for obvious reasons. Anyone who knows what they're doing could just abuse most of the game with that, especially if you're using docks. Yeah, Wonder Guard is just crazy. But you know what? With these rule sets, base Pokemon Emerald, even with Hardcore Plus, is still very, very easy. A cakewalk at that. I did it without having to look at any docs or having to do any planning at all. That's really lame. So I went one step beyond and asked myself, can I do this Nuzlocke without losing a single Pokemon at all? That's right. Can I Nuzlocke flawlessly for the entire run? Now this is interesting. Now we've got to actually use our brains slightly to ensure that we can dodge certain crits that could potentially kill us, or we don't let our guards down or lose to things like wobbuthits or self-destruct explosions. But this is still a huge step above most other standardized Nuzlocks you see on YouTube. So can I beat Pokemon Emerald with Hardcore Plus Nuzlocking rules without losing a single Pokemon? Let's find out. Okay, so I started Nuzlocke. Now, I would argue that Mudkip is by far the best starter. You could use any of the starters really, but I definitely think Mudkip's the best because its attacking stats, its attacking coverage of water, ice, ground, and its humongous bulk is just so good. And the fact it only has one weakness means it pretty much trivializes everything in the game that's not grass. It's pretty ridiculous. What I did do was I reset a couple times to get a really good Mudkip, and this Mudkip is really nice. It's neutral nature. I would probably recommend something like any minus speed nature or maybe a minus special attack nature, but this one has like above average HP, literally max defenses, and it's definitely an above average Mudkip, but it's very bulky. It wasn't even a perfect Mudkip, but it was more than enough to just destroy this game outright. So we started Nuzlocke and we catch the first few mons available. Now, unlike something like a Driano game or like Emerald Kaizo or some jank, here, because there's such a small variety of encounters, almost every single Nuzlocke, you're almost certainly guaranteed to get the same exact encounters every time. So you're almost guaranteed to get like Poochyena, Zigzagoon, Wurmple. They're actually quite nice. I do get a Ralts, which is really good. It had Synchronize, but the Synchronize, actually, you'd think that'd be really good with Impish Nature, but just never end up coming up. The first meaningful encounter would be Petalburg Forest. That's because if you have the right dupes, you've got a pretty decent chance of getting Slack Off, and Slack Off is so good. A good Slack Off could just destroy this game even without EVs. It's pretty hilarious. I didn't get that though, but it didn't even matter. I got Shroomish, which is still pretty nice actually, but that will do. Like, with a good Mudkip, you just cannot go wrong in early game. This is especially true with the first gym battle. Like, anyone with 2 brain cells will just destroy this battle. I didn't even bother grinding. I mean, I'm using rare candies to level up, but even then, I couldn't even be bothered using rare candies. These are the mons I've caught. Yeah, I couldn't be bothered grinding up the other mons, just use the Mudkip and go off. You could potentially lose if you get really unlucky against the nose pass. I forgot to mention, by the way, I was actually under-leveled for this gym battle. But yeah, that's just me flexing. You could potentially get really unlucky against the nose pass, but the best way to beat it is just mud slap it twice, then just spam water gun and you just win. It's pretty ridiculous. So keep making your way to second gym. It's kind of weird how the second gym is like right after the first gym. But yeah, you get like your guaranteed Whismer. You get your fishing encounters, so you get Tentacool, which is really nice late game, and Magikarp, which is also so good. Magikarp, it kind of trivializes a lot of the early and mid game. It's pretty crazy. Then your cave encounter, there's oftentimes some really good mons there, but regardless, just go to Brawly. And Brawly was also just not a challenge at all, really. Like, Marshtomp is pretty powerful and it won't win on its own though. This time Marshtomp was able to beat the first two, but sometimes you might get unlucky to like a bulk up Karate Chop crit or something, so you might have to switch out, but it does not matter. As long as you have a Wurmple evolution line, be it Dustox or Beautyfly, you basically auto win with that on its own. Mine's even under leveled, it does not matter. 4-time resist the stab, you just win. I don't think it's that even possible to lose, but yeah, it's such a meme, this boss battle. I don't know, like, you should not be having any trouble with this whatsoever. But yeah. So after that, just make your way forward. Next up is May, and I try to not over level her. I try to purposely lower my level cap, but yeah, like, there's really nothing to see here. Your Wurmple line just trivializes the Grovyle. That's literally it. The battle is so uneventful. I swear to Christ, I was actually getting really bored with this run so far, because it was just so unengaging. It was just so easy. But yeah, at the very least, against Watson, this battle is also incredibly easy, but I did get very unlucky, so for me, this was actually a very, very hard battle. And this was actually the hardest battle of the whole run, because a very unlikely thing happened. Usually with a good Marshtomp, especially if you edge it up to the level cap, you will just win, no problem at all. But something weird happened, so the lead Voltorb, it instantly went for self-destructs. And yes, that can happen. It's very unlikely that Voltorb goes for self-destruct turn 1. I think something like a couple of % chance, but it can happen. I think it might be 3% chance, but yeah. Had it gone to crits, then the run would have been over, so that was one crit I had to dodge. I still take out the next two mons, but the Manectric was really yikes. I did not think I could do this anymore. But especially because if you look at the rest of my team, I did not bother grinding them at all, and they were really under leveled, and you must be thinking, there's no way I can actually turn this around and somehow win this battle, right? The Manectric has like a citrus berry, and the gym leader still has like healing items. How am I supposed to win? I have no idea, but I found a way. So I went to Dustox. I had no idea what to do, but then I realized something. Wait, I could go into my underleveled Shroomish, Leech Seed it, then try and stall it out. Now, I do match a Stun Sport as well, which is pretty huge. And the Manectric, it keeps going for Howl, which is a little bit dangerous with Quick Attack, but Mega Drain with Leech Seed actually allows me to stall it out a little bit to heal up a good amount of health, combined with the fact that it gets paralyzed. I have to dodge a few more crits because Quick Attack of all things is starting to wreck my team up. But yeah, I kept switching around. I had to keep going between like Swellow, Dustox, and Shroomish, and I even had to pivot around on Marshtomp, baiting Electric-type move, just to stall out the Leech Seed, and eventually I was just able to stall the Manectric. It was pretty crazy. Like, I had to dodge at least 3 more crits in this battle, and it was pretty crazy. He did have several super potions, which was really obnoxious, but I somehow eventually managed to stall out this Minetric. I had to eventually keep spamming Moonlight on my paralyzed Nuzlocke, which is so risky. But eventually the Leech Seed came through. I also had to use Protect a few times, which was a good strategy of Leech Seed, but like, one mistake and I would have probably lost. This was genuinely a really hard battle. Like, no joke. I mean, the only reason this battle was even hard, remotely hard in the first place, was because I got extremely lucky with Voltorb going for self-destruct, and I was underleveled. I could not be bothered grading up my team. My team was severely underleveled. Had I actually gotten the level 24 Dustox and Breloom, yeah, this battle would have been really easy. Breloom would have just destroyed Minetric. But yeah, I was lazy, and my laziness kind of bit me in the ass, but thank God the run is still on. I did get this Impish Nature Zubat afterwards, which sounds like an amazing encounter, but I actually never end up using it. So yeah, a lot of the mons here, this game got easy to the point where a lot of the mons here I just never end up using. So next up is the Maxi battle, and this was such a meme. It really was. Like, Breloom destroyed my Jenna. Then for camera up, any water flying type like Gyarados or Pelipper just destroys it. Dragon Rage is still really strong at this point in the game, so it's kind of a meme. Hariyama is really strong at this point. It's got really good stats with Fake Out. It can destroy so many things. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So after that we go straight to Flannery, and people say Flannery's hard. I strongly disagree with that. Most water types, like Azumarill, especially with Fake Fat, or I use Tentacool, they can just destroy Flannery really well. Like, my Tentacool destroyed basically everything apart from the Torkoal. I did have to risk a crit because I underestimated how low my Tentacool's physical defense was, but yeah, I dealt with Torkoal by just using Gyarados and double Dragon Raging it. Yes, I know Torkoal has good defense, but Dragon Rage just does not care. It goes down like that. It's so easy. Now, I get the Fossil afterwards, but I never end up using it, so that was anticlimactic, and I even get a Trapinch, which you would think Trapinch would be really nice, but nah, I never used it at all. This run just didn't require a lot of strategy. Now, after that, just go straight to Norman, and with my team, Norman, he's not that bad. He could give you a little bit of trouble if you're unlucky, or if he goes for the wrong moves at the right time, you could get a little bit unlucky. So I used my Marshtomp to beat the Spin Dot. There can be some hacks there with confusion and such. Then Vigoroth can also be kind of strong, but Marshtomp combined with Hariyama and Breloom could just destroy it because they've got 2 really strong fighting types at this point in the game. Now, right before I knocked out the Vigoroth, one thing that I did remember about this game is that I haven't played this game in a while, but I do know that the Linoone has belly drum, so that's one thing that I just cannot risk. So I went to Breloom to finish off the Vigoroth with Mach Punch, so if Linoone does try to belly drum it, I can just destroy it with Mach Punch, because yeah, that is one thing, despite this game being easy, that is one thing that could generally destroy you if you're not careful. So yeah, just look out for that. And last thing is Slacking, and that does literally nothing. It is no threat, it's kind of just a meme. Gyarados with Intimidate plus Graveler and Fake Out Hariyama completely invalidates it. The Slacking just never gets a turn. It does nothing. So yeah, like, Graveler can easily switch in on any normal type move, and you can even go into Hariyama on the turn where it's about to attack, then you fake it out and it does nothing. So it really just... you just meme on the Slacking. It's pretty funny. So that's another pretty free gym badge. I mean, so far they've all been pretty free, but yeah. So next, the next May battle, nothing happened. Again, really anticlimactic, just... Grovyle, like, I guess if that gets a critical hit, that could be a little bit pesky, but... no. There's literally no thought involved in that battle. Now, we can get some more encounters. Then I just go straight to Winona. Now, Winona... if you get Ice Beam on Swampert, I will say Winona is very free. she's free with Ice Beam on Marshtomp, or Ice Beam on any good water type, which you can get several of, like Tentacool or such. But I was so underwhelmed with this playthrough, I just could not be bothered getting Ice Beam. I could not be bothered backtracking to the ship to get Ice Beam. Actually, I think you can buy it, I think you have to buy it, and I just could not be bothered going through that hassle. So I did not get Ice Beam, so Winona was a little bit more challenging. I did have some pretty good mons for her regardless. So I got Electrode in the lab in New Mauville, and that auto-destroyed several of her mons. The Altaria was the only like remote threat on her team because I didn't have Ice Beam. Otherwise Gyarados could have just blasted it, but yeah, it started using Dragon Dance, and it did get a paralysis with Dragon Breath, which is really annoying, but Dragon Rage is still enough to free shot it. I guess I could have gotten destroyed by a critical hit, so I would say I did kind of luck out against the Altaria, but yeah, had I gone Ice Beam I would have just destroyed it way more easily anyways, so yeah, I'm purposely like holding myself back, I guess. Then yeah, the rest of our team literally does nothing. Like, there's nothing to see here, so let's just move on. Don't worry, the run does get a little bit challenging towards the end, I will say. That's pretty much it. We get some more encounters, but I don't think any of them really do anything. Like, so yeah, we could just move straight on. The final May battle, just like the last one, was also a meme, because she still has a Slugma, of all things. Just, it's not even worth showing, so let's just ignore that. Yeah, the next Maxi battle was also such a joke, like really. Breloom just destroys my Mycena, then Electrode destroys Crobat, then destroy Camerupt with any water type, but I used Pelipper especially, just an extra meme on it, because I don't think I can even touch Pelipper. That was really easy. So after this, just go straight to the next gym, because there's nothing in between that's even remotely worth your time. There's a few encounters. I do get his Feel, which is a really nice encounter. It's got really good stats, and its bulk is on par with my Swampert. So the only really important thing before the next gym is that you can get a Wild Staryu, and this is probably the best encounter of the whole game. It's so good for Elite Four. It's really, really good. So make sure you can guarantee this with a Super Rod, and this thing is so worth it, especially if it's got good IVs with Surf, Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Ice Beam. Or you can give Recover. It just trivializes the end game. It's so nice. So definitely make sure you get this. But apart from that, there's literally nothing else to mention. So just go straight to the final gym. I will say, T and Lisa, they're definitely the hardest gym leaders in this game by a big margin. And I did misplay. I almost wiped in this battle actually. When I say wipe, I mean I almost lost one Mon, then failed the Deathless run. Thankfully, the battle went my way. Now, I didn't have a great strategy for Tate and Lisa, and to be honest, I did kind of, because I was so bored of this run, I kind of just YOLO'd it, so I didn't really spend a lot of time at all coming up with a plan or anything, because screw it. So I just decided to lead off with Swampert, because it's just very reliable, and decided to lead off with Banette with Shadow Ball. I do know it's quite frail, and it's not going to take that many hits, but at least it can hit really hard. I know that Solrock likes to go for Solar Beam, so I could potentially find a way around that. In Linoone, I think that only has Psychic moves, so I tried to take out the first two mons first, and it does get a little bit tense. Earthquake does deal a lot of damage, and I was definitely at risk of a critical hit to that Claydol. But after I survived that last Earthquake and managed to switch out, the battle's pretty much over. Now that Claydol and Satu are down, there's not that much Tate and Lisa can really do at this point, because Linoone can't really touch my Mycena. So I can just stall the Solrock also, as I know that's going to go for Sword Beam. Its special attack really isn't that high, so at that point you can just easily take out the Solrock, and at that point you easily destroy Linoone as well. I know Calm Mind can make it quite dangerous, but it can't touch my Mycena. So you can just keep attacking it, and you can even flinch it with bites, and at that point you pretty much win. So yeah, I did have to be careful of that critical hit against Solrock, but apart from that I was okay. I could have planned for this, but I really could not be bothered. Which yeah, it didn't matter anyways. Now next up we got the final Maxi battle. At least we'll be done with them after this, and yeah, this was really easy. Purely because I've got the Walrein, which has thick fat and it's got really good defensive stats. And with Surf and Ice Beam, it hits everything really hard. It destroys Camerupt and Crowbats really well, and it could just tank up hits all day. So basically my strategy was spam Surf and win, pretty much. Then switch out once or twice, then just go back to Walrein, spam Surf and win, then Swampert could just come back in for the sweep. But yeah, there's really nothing to this battle. At least we don't have to deal with Maxie again. Speaking of very underwhelming villains, Archie was even more laughable. Just Electrode sweeps the rest, then that's pretty much it. Really nothing more to see there. Now this challenge is thankfully almost at an end. I was starting to get really bored. But at least we got the final gym. And this is a lot easier than the last one. Because I've got the Electrode, that will destroy quite a lot. The Wish Cache, that could potentially be a little bit annoying, but turns out that Swampert's stats are just so much better, so it really doesn't matter. So yeah, just destroy that. And Celio also, like, I've got a Walrein, like what's Celio going to do to me? Like, not much at all really. So that also just gets wrecked. Then Kingdra's the only real threat, but because my Hariyama has Vital Throw, it does not care about accuracy. So I just destroy it that way. Yeah, that was really easy. Then the final Crawdonts, I just destroy it in one hit, and that's basically the whole battle. I just rushed through it. But at least now, it's time to finally end this game. Now I will say for Wally, I actually forgot to record that. But actually, I forgot that you fought Wally at the beginning of Victory Road. So I forgot to level cap for him, so I was level 50 when I battled him, so he was actually quite easy. But yeah, I forgot to record it anyways. But that aside, let's just go to the Pokemon League and prepare for the Elite Four. Now the Elite Four was... it did get dicey, I'm not gonna lie. I did get a slight challenge because I didn't bother planning really. I just picked 6 mons, which I thought would be pretty good. I picked the Stormy from before. I said that was really broken, and Stormy is so dumb in this game. It trivializes the second half of the Elite Four and Champion. But I also took Tentacruel and Blossom and Electrode because I thought they would just be good additions and they would be quite helpful. But with this team here, I basically destroyed most of the Elite Four. I did have to dodge some crits though. So first up is Sydney, but because of the level cap is set to Drake's level, Sydney's just not a threat at all. Really does nothing. We just destroy him because we're kind of over leveled at that point. So that's so insignificant. Next up is Phoebe, and though she can be quite annoying in stall, she was basically just stalling the inevitable as she just gets destroyed as well. I did have to dodge a single crit in that battle. Like the Swampert and Walrein just pretty much wrecked everything because their stats are just too good. They hit too hard and they're too bulky at that point. So there was really no threat. Just win easily, that's it. Glacia's next, and she should be really easy because Stormy just it trivializes her team with Thunderbolt and the Resistor. Apart from the Glalie can be quite threatening. Now, I know that the second Glalie has Explosion. I thought it might have it, I wasn't 100% sure. But it's just the Glalie, I was really scared because I thought it would have Explosion and I didn't have a guaranteed way to deal with it. So I just had to take a risk. And it decided to explode on my Swampert, which was really tense because I did not expect it to explode at that point, and thankfully I was just able to take that hit. Very yikesy. Had I already been a little bit pre-damaged, or had it been a crit, my Swampert would have gone down, but thank God it held on. Swampert is really bulky and just, it put in so much work this run. By that point, Stormy just utterly destroys Walrein, so it's really easy. Now we've got the final Elite Four member, Drake, and this is not a threat at all. Because I've got 3 water types, I can also use ice moves. It's so anticlimactic. Like, he just can't do anything to me at all. So yeah, just a one-sided sweep with Ice Beam, that's basically it. What I do at the very end is the Flygon, like, I knew it would have Earthquake, so what I did was I switched into Blossom, tanked Earthquake, then I predicted at that point it would probably go for like Dragon Claw or Fire or Flamethrower or some jank like that. So I decided to go into Stormy then, and my prediction was right, I did go for Flamethrower, so I just destroyed the Flygon, and that was that. So that was Elite Four, easy. I only had to dodge one crit in the whole Elite Four, which is the Glalie Explosion, but that was pretty easy, apart from that. And it was actually really nice considering I spent like no time planning, I just YOLO'd the entire thing. But here's the champion, let's end the run. I know the champion is quite a step above, let's just go for it. So, I lead off with Stormy and Recover and Thunderbolts easily walls and destroys a Wailord. Now, Ludicolo, that thing is really easy for my Tentacruel to handle because Tentacruel's got so much special defense. I actually got, I think this one's a plus special defense nature. Till I realised that I actually forgot to heal up my PP. So Tentacruel only had 2 Sludge Bombs, which is really bad, and it missed the first one because of Double Team. Thankfully, Tentacruel hit its final Sludge Bomb and was able to one-shot the Ludicolo. Yeah, that would have been really bad had I missed that, because I stupidly forgot to restore my PP. I guess I just couldn't help but handicap myself, you know, to make this even slightly challenging. The Wish Cash was also not really a threat, until I realised that my Blossom only had 1 Giga Drain and then ran out of PP, which was kind of an epic fail on my part. It didn't really matter that much because I could just put it to sleep but then just destroy it with Swampert, so it didn't really matter. Now the next one, Gyarados, that thing was a threat, however. I didn't really have too great a counter for that. My Stormy was kind of in danger here. It was potentially, it could have gone down to a critical hit Earthquake. Now, thankfully, I managed to paralyze it with Thunderbolts, which really mattered. I think if it wasn't for that paralyze, I might have actually lost this Nuzlocke, which was really, really tense. Well, actually no, I would have been able to take an Earthquake had it not been a crit. Had the Gyarados gotten the crits, I would have lost a Nuzlocke, because I would have lost Stormy, but thank God that did not go wrong. That was really tense. I probably should have prepared more for that Gyarados, but yeah. I'm not punished. I'm literally never punished this run. Next in is Tentacruel, and that does nothing to star you. Then the final Mon is Milotic. One more Mon. And this point is an easy win, because I can just ult out. I know Milotic is still tanky enough to tank Thunderbolts, which is pretty crazy. And it does an okay amount of damage. This is why I kept Recover on. But it's kind of like walling out my team, and Tentacruel can't use Sludge Bomb anymore, so that does nothing. I was actually kind of worried for a second, but then I realised that with Recover and Stormy, the best strategy is to just stall out PP, and an even better way is to just use Rest on Walrein, because Milotic only has Surf and Ice Beam, so it literally cannot touch my Walrein. So I just win extremely easily. I just stall out the Milotic completely. It does take a while, just keep spamming Rest. I know Milotic does like to use Toxic, but with Rest it doesn't even matter, so just keep stalling out the Milotic and I win. Then eventually it uses Struggle, so yeah. It was kind of a funny way to end a Nuzlocke, but with that, that's Nuzlocke pretty much over. So yes, it can be done. Quite easily, may I add. You can beat Pokemon Emerald with Hardcore plus Nuzlocke rules without a single death. You can do it. I YOLO'd this, I rushed this, I did not prepare, I didn't do any calculations or anything. Anyone who uses their brain can do this easily if they plan or do any of that stuff. I guess the main point of this video overall is to just show how ridiculously easy vanilla Pokemon games actually are. The fact that Emerald is supposedly the harder vanilla Pokemon game is really something, because it still requires like no skill to beat. I guess that's kind of why the community has been going far more towards ROM hacks recently, because they really are just more fun to play. Difficulty is not everything in a Pokemon game, but when a Pokemon game is so easy to the point where you literally don't need any strategy at all, you can just mash the A button and win, it kind of invalidates everything. It kind of makes it bland. So I will say that. But I think, now that I've done this with a vanilla Pokemon game, I think it's about time we did this with a ROM hack. A much harder ROM hack. Join me next time when I'll be doing, can you beat Pokemon Fire Red Omega with Hardcore Plus Nuzlocke rules? 1 death equals reset? Now that is going to be a challenge. Fire Red Omega is much harder than any vanilla Pokemon game, so that is one challenge I am looking forward to doing. So if you want to see something hard, stay tuned for that. But with that done, I will see you all next time. This is the Nuzlocke Enjoyer, signing out.